What's up, guys? I know no one's in the room right now, but I realize that when I do live chats, people afterwards view these. Sometimes I'm not saying anything in the beginning, so I'm going to talk. I just saw Rambo, and it was freaking insane. Hey, who's this in the room? Let it flow and let it show. What episode of The Wire are you on, brother? I am literally going to I'm done. I finished the show, but I'm probably going to try to edit up the rest this weekend. What's up, Daniel? I'm going to finish editing. My plan is to finish editing up The Wire this weekend. I finished the show. I just have to edit it up. I've been busy and everything. I just did a double feature tonight. Rambo wasn't the first movie I saw. I saw Promar. I think it was Promar. It was the launch day of a new anime movie. A bunch of friends took me to see it. Know very little about it, but I saw it. It was freaking awesome. But Rambo is what we're here to talk about. But yeah, let it flow. I will try to I'll put it this way. I'm definitely get one out on Saturday. Probably one on Sunday. I'm going to try to do all three. I have 3 episodes left, but the finale is going to be a 5-parter. So that one might hold me back. Definitely going to get at least 1, probably 2. But what are you guys up to? Daniel D, let it flow. I just saw Rambo. I'm assuming you guys didn't see it, but I'm hoping people jump on that saw it because I want to chat about it. And it was pretty nuts. I liked it. I thought it was up there with the original, maybe my second favorite. I don't know. They're all pretty good. They're all violent and cheesy storylines, but they're all pretty good. What am I doing now? I literally just jumped up on this thing. I didn't write tags or anything. So feel free to ask questions, guys. Daniel, it's always good to see you. Let it flow. I don't think I've seen you in a live stream before. Have you been watching Fear of the Walking Dead? Daniel, I have not seen that show. I've watched the first 2 episodes, and it wasn't that I didn't like it. I watched it with a girl I was dating, so to speak, and then we stopped dating, and I only watched it because she watched it, I guess. I don't know. It was one of those things where, like, it has nothing to do with bad memories or anything. It's just like I stopped watching it because she watched it. So I think I watched like the first 2 or 3 episodes, but that was about as far as I got on that. Who else we got in the room? I see 4 people popping up. Anybody curious about Rambo? I don't want to spoil it if anyone doesn't want a spoiler, but I'm curious if anyone saw it, honestly. Did anyone? Well, I'm assuming most people didn't see Rambo. It just came out today. Sadly, my theater had 5 people in it, maybe, not including me. So 6. Granted, I went to a small theater, so there's maybe 60 seats, and I think there was 6 people there. When I walked out, there was no one. There was like 2 people left when I walked out because there is like a mid-credit scene. If that makes any sense, there's a mid-credit scene for Rambo. So when I was walking out, I had already been in the credits for a good while, and there's only 2 people left. So there was like 6 people to begin with, and none of them besides 2 others stayed for the mid-credit scene, which kind of tells a lot, but people didn't see it. Struggling to get through season 2 of Westworld. Might go see Rambo soon. Season 2 of Westworld, where are you at? Let it flow. Because I know a lot of people, including myself, who were struggling at a point. I'm curious what episode you're on, because at one point it gets really good, and then I was okay with it. And Rambo, I highly recommend. It is not for the faint of heart, people. Rambo is violent as hell. Honestly, I think it might be the most violent Rambo I'm pretty sure it is by far. I have to rewatch the last one because I do remember the last Rambo being very brutal, but this one was like very like borderline, like not even borderline. Like I would almost call this like a horror movie. The things Sylvester Stallone does, and it is, I guess, a specific taste. I like violence, I like horror, and I love Sylvester Stallone. So I was completely okay with it, but it is violent as hell. Just finished episode 6, starting to pick up. That's around where it picks up. Let It Flow. Is episode 6 the Native American one? That's all I'm going to say in case it's not. But if episode 6 is the Native American one, like the whole episode, it deals with Native Americans. If that's episode 6, then it only gets better from there. That's where it started picking up, and I started actually really enjoying season 2. But it did like slack a lot in the beginning, I thought, as well. Boop-a-doop-a-doop, boop boop, boop-a-doop-a-doop, doot doot, doob-a-doob-a-doop. Boop-a-doop-a-doop. Who's in the room? Oh, we got Roland 666. So is The Last Blood part 1, or is this the end of John Rambo? Since there's only a few of you in the room, I'll tell you that you don't really know at the end. He is shot to shit, but in places he could probably survive. So they don't really tell you. Like he's alive when the movie ends, but he is literally shot to shit. Like at least 4 gunshot wounds minimum are in his body. So I mean, they could do whatever they want. They could say that he immediately ran inside and he's Rambo. So maybe he has like first aid type things that like could seal his wounds or something. I don't know. I mean, we all saw him pour gunpowder and light it on fire. So maybe he does that or something. All I know is they didn't even do like some weird thing where like he started slowly closing his eyes and like he was just kind of like in a chair, like rocking, like a literal rocking chair. And I even watched specifically to see if they were trying to give hints, like was the rocking chair slowing down? Did he like kind of like pass out, or like his eyes like start closing? None of it. He's just like solid in his chair like this, like rocking, wide open eyes, bleeding everywhere, gunshot wounds galore. And he's just badass Rambo rocking in his chair. So they don't really tell you. They could say he died rocking in his chair, or he ran inside and he survived. I mean, that's probably what they're going for in case this is a huge success. They're obviously going to make another one. But based on the outcome of my theater, like I said, I went opening night and I went to a smaller theater, but I only had like 6 people in it. So wasn't all I'd hoped for audience wise, but I thought it was a great movie. I loved it. I'd definitely go see it again. It did drag out in some parts and it's pretty dark. Like not just the kills, the movie itself is pretty dark. Like a lot of horrible, horrible things happen in this movie. And I wouldn't recommend it for everybody. I could definitely see a lot of people getting offended. I could definitely see a lot of people like not realizing how brutal and gory this gets. Was the guy from Snowfall the best Rambo villain, or is Trotman from the first film still dude, the guy from the first movie, it's not even that he's like most of the Rambo guys are like violent fighter type guys. Brian Dennehy is who you're talking about, I believe. If you're talking about Brian Dennehy, then I hated him so much. He is probably my most hated villain from the Rambo movies, just because of the way he is. He's just such a horrible shithead. Like, I don't know how else to say it, but there's definitely more violent criminals, more like high up criminals, stuff like that. Like he was just like a town cop. So I don't know. All I know is I despise Brian Dennehy's character. Brian Dennehy? It is Brian Dennehy, right? I feel like Brian is the wrong name, but that's right. Sorry, I did a double feature, had a lot of beer, and then forgot to get water. So like I'm super dehydrated right now. But what is everyone else Snowfall? I'm trying to think of which guy, the guy from Snowfall. The guy, are you talking about the guy with I'm trying to think of which villain was in Snowfall. I'm blanking. No, that was Casino Royale. Which one was Snowfall? No, Snowfall's the one where he's in the mansion at the end and he's got the little Austin Martin that he like fires on the guys. Who was the villain? What actor was the villain in that? Why am I blanking? I love Snowfall, but I'm blanking on who the villain is. Snowfall is probably my favorite Bond movie with Daniel Craig, but I do not recall why am I blanking? I remember M getting, is it the same guy? Is it the guy with the scar? Is that the one where he's twirling the thing and just whipping him in the balls in the chair naked? I feel like that. I'm getting my bonds confused. I'm getting my bonds confused. Doodle-doodle-doop poop. Doodle-doodle-doop. Give me a sec, guys. I'm just trying to put tags in the video. I feel like whenever I put tags, the viewers quadruple. So I just want to try to put tags into up the viewers on this video. Oh, that was weird. It echoed everywhere. I was talking about the FX TV show Snowfall. Oh, who is the cartel boss guy in the new Rambo? Oh, I went off on a tangent then. I apologize. I've never seen Snowfall, but I know the cartel boss guy. Snowfall, who is the cartel boss guy? Oh, well, there was two bosses in the movie. There were brothers. They're the Martinez brothers, and they're both pretty major characters. So I don't know which one. One has a cowboy hat and one doesn't. I'd give you more features, but they look identical. They have long hair. They both have beards and mustaches. So I don't know how else to identify them from each other. But one guy was wearing a cowboy hat. That's the only difference that I could see. If you're just joining us, feel free to write questions. I'm just trying to add tags to the video because I swear that people jump in more when I have tags. Sergio Marchetti is the actor's name. He has long hair. It's probably the older brother, because I guess the older brother was slightly more important. So it's got to be the older brother. But he was a good villain. Don't get me wrong. He was good, but he was very stereotypical. I believe in this movie, at least, he played a Mexican guy, Mexican cartel guy. And he was like, he did good at that, but he was just like every other Mexican cartel guy that is good in what they do in the movie. So I wouldn't say he is separating himself from the rest. Whereas Brian Dennehy, I'm not a huge Rambo fan. I like Rambo, not a huge Rambo fan, but Brian Dennehy has stuck in my mind for eternity because of how he is. So I cannot take him down from the ranks. Doody doo boop boop boop. Feel free to ask questions, guys. I'm just trying to put tags in the video so peoples can find me. Did you? See, what I should have done is I should have rewatched the Rambos before I went, because I haven't seen a Rambo movie in like 10 years. Well, no, whenever the last one came out, I don't think I've ever rewatched the older ones since the last one came out. So the last one that came out was the last Rambo I saw, and I saw it in theaters. So that is how long it's been since I've seen a Rambo movie. But I probably should have rewatched them because there was probably Easter eggs thrown throughout, and I didn't even bother looking. Have you seen the Deadwood movie? Or are you still working your way through the series? I am going, as soon as The Wire is done editing, I'm going to finish Deadwood and The Misfits. I have not watched any since the last reaction that is posted on my channel. But now that The Wire is done, once I edit them, that's why I'm trying to bang them out this weekend, because I just want to like get it over with and then do like a live stream next Friday to talk to everybody about it. And then in the midst of that, I could start finishing Misfits, Deadwood. There's so many shows I started that I want to finish, but I didn't want to like get overwhelmed with stuff. I wanted to just get done with The Wire. The Wire was the main show that I was focusing on and the main show that started this all. So I definitely wanted to get The Wire done and focus all my attention to that. But I hopefully will get it done this weekend or shortly thereafter. Like I said, the finale is going to be a 5-parter. So that one's going to probably take me a while. It takes me about an hour, like 30 minutes to an hour for each part, because I try to go through it, clip it just right. And by the time you're done, it just takes forever. It's tedious. So hopefully I get it out as quick as possible. But the finale is probably going to take me like a half a day just to do. Boop, boop, boop. Doop, 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 boop, boop, boop. Give me a sec, guys. I'm sorry. Whoever's in here. We got. I should make a separate. I have not made a playlist. I just realized for live streams. I should probably do that so people could find this stuff easier. Doop, boop, boop. All right, what do we got here? Breaking Bad movie next month. Oh, that's right. It is coming out that quick. I am caught up on I've seen Breaking Bad. Haven't seen Better Call Saul. Sopranos prequel comes out next year. The Saints of New York with James Gandolfini's son playing the young Tony Soprano. Yeah, I didn't know. I knew that, but I didn't know. I don't know when. Did they actually announce a date? I know they said it was like a while. I don't know. Does the Sopranos prequel movie have a date yet? I don't think it does. Is it have a general season? I don't even know the season it's coming out. I just know that it is in the midst sometime next summer. Okay. I did know that Gandolfini's son was playing young Tony. Do they have any other cast? Do you know of? Like, I know that they were saying Christopher's father. The hell was Christopher's father? What did they always call Christopher's father? He had a nickname. But anyway, Christopher's father is supposed to be, it's supposed to be like young Tony and Christopher's father, right? I think so. That's what I heard at least. But who the heck is, what do they call? He has like a nickname. They always mention him. Dickie. That's right. Dickie Moltisanti. Yeah. So Dickie, I'm assuming they're going to have to get someone famous to play Christopher's father, Dickie Moltisanti, because who's going to, I mean, no one's going to recognize James Gandolfini's son unless he looks just like his father. But everyone knows James Gandolfini is dead, so it's probably going to freak people out and think they just de-aged a dead James Gandolfini or something. But I would assume they would get like a good star for the other character. Like you need like a name to draw attention, like a big name. Wait, was it Dickie? Wait, Rollin. Was it Dickie or was it Nicky? Dickie. I feel like it was Nicky. No, I think you're right, Dickie. Why am I thinking Nicky? Nicky Moltisanti? I don't know. I know their last name is Moltisanti. It is Dickie? Okay. For some reason, why am I thinking Nicky? I think I'm thinking of Joe Pesci from like what was Nicky? He was either Goodfellas or Casino. Vera, I don't know how to say her name, but I know who you're talking about. Formiga, the one from The Conjuring, playing Tony's mom. Really? Oh, that makes sense. For a second, I was like, what? She's beautiful, though. How are they going to make her look like that? But I forget that it's young Tony's mother. That's actually cool. I do like her. I can never pronounce her name, but I love her as an actress. I think she's been amazing since The Departed. A lot of people don't realize she was the girl Matt Damon was hooking up with in The Departed. I didn't realize that myself until I rewatched The Departed. And I'm like, holy shit, she's so young in that movie. But that movie is a long time ago. But she is gorgeous, great actress, everything perfect. I love her. Go back and watch The Departed if you haven't in a while. She's probably like in her early 20s in that. John Barenthal is playing Dickie. Oh my God. Then that is awesome because I love him. That is perfect. I like that. He even kind of looks like, what was the actor's name? Christopher's actor's name. I'm a fan of trivia, so I always have to like test myself. What the frick was that actor's name? I know as soon as I see it, I'll know. But Corey Stoll's Uncle Jr. Why does that name sound familiar? Corey Stolis? That name sounds familiar. I'm not exactly clear on who that is. What was he in? What was Corey? I'm sorry, saying the name wrong, but what was Corey Stolas in? It does sound very familiar. I love John Barenthal. I love Vera. And James Gandolfini was great. I hear his son looks just like him, so I'm not going to knock it till I see him. Boop, 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 boop. Corey was in House of Cards and The Strain. Oh, maybe I don't know him then because I've never seen either of those. The Strain, was The Strain the one on Sci-Fi or FX with like it had like a trailer with like a ghastly looking figure or something like that? House of Cards, I was gonna start watching, but then all the Kevin Spacey shit came out, and I was like, I don't want to react to a show that people hate a man from. So eventually I'll watch it. It's not like I'm never gonna see it, but I held off on any reactions because of the hatred the world has for Kevin Spacey, which I don't blame them. But yeah, never watched it. FX Vampire Show made by Guillermo del Toro. I'm pretty sure it was FX. I never watched it, so I'm pretty sure I know the show you're talking about, but I never watched it. But Corey Stolas, I definitely would probably know him if I saw him then. I had friends that watched that show and stuff, so I probably have seen him before. Boop, 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 boop. I figured if I came on this late, it's like 1:30 in the morning where I am. I was like, I figure if I come on this late, there'll probably be no one that have seen Rambo yet, let alone people jumping on to talk about it. I was exhausted myself, but I'm always curious to see when I did this for It Chapter 2, granted that's a much bigger release. When I did it for It Chapter 2, we had like 20 people at like 2 in the morning. So I was curious to see the difference between Rambo and It Chapter 2. The Deuce is on its final season. Highly recommend. James Gandolfini's son is in it. He plays a loser barback. Really? How often is he in it? Is he just like in the background or like has a one-liner every episode, or is he like a main character? Because I might watch that just to see and get used to him because I loved Sopranos. Roland, if you don't know, is it Roland? I don't know. I know you can't tell me. Sorry if it's Roland. It's probably Roland. I have a friend named Roland and he spells it the same way. So it's probably Roland. I'm going to say Roland and I hope that's right. But anyway, Roland. Okay, it is Roland. Okay. Yeah, my friend's name is Roland and his name is spelled the exact same way. So I feel like he's the minority of those though. So anyway, maybe I'll watch it. Season 2 and 3 supporting. I might actually check it out. I've also heard good things about The Deuce. One of my best friends watches it. He's also a huge fan of, isn't The Deuce David Simon? Or am I wrong about that? I feel like The Deuce is David Simon. If I could be wrong, but whoever does The Deuce, he's a huge fan of. And the friend that recommended The Wire to me is the one that's a big fan of The Deuce. So I'm willing to bet it's David Simon. Yes, it's a David Simon joke. Okay, cool. Yeah. Because the friend that recommended The Wire, the one that's like the biggest fan ever, also loves The Deuce and recommended that to me. So I didn't want to put them together and assume, but that's what I thought it was. Where would you rank, Roland? Where would you rank The Deuce? Like, is it like one of the best shows you ever seen? Or is it like a good show? Or is it like, no, it's worth a watch immediately? Because there's a lot of shows I got to watch. And I'm like trying to categorize everything. Yep, it's a deep. Oh, no, I'm reading the same thing over your own. I'm trying to like shuffle them in an order where like I see fit. I still want to watch Chernobyl. So many people told me the HBO series Chernobyl is really good. And I was going to do that like a month ago. And then I started just doing other things. I think Stranger Things, right when I was about to do Chernobyl, Stranger Things season 3 dropped, totally forgot, put Chernobyl off to the side. Now it's becoming like one of those things where like it might just get slowly dropped down the tiers because there's so many other things coming out that I got to finish. Boop, boop. The Deuce is one of my faves. The whole series is like 25 episodes. Chernobyl is so good. So many people tell me it's getting to the point where I might have to just start watching shows on my own because I'd record them all, but I need I wish I had like somebody that just edited all my shit because I would watch TV all day. The hard part's the editing. It takes hours and hours and hours to edit. And then after that, half the time I get copyright claims and bans and strikes and everything else. So it's like, if I had someone that could handle all that and I just had to watch television, I would probably be done with every season of television I've already started. It's just the editing that takes forever. And I'm not going to some people hire people to edit on YouTube and stuff. I don't make money off this. So I'm not going to hire somebody to edit my free videos. What is up in the chat? Who's here? I see people jumping in, but I don't see anybody asking questions except Roland. Roland, are you like afraid of spoilers on Rambo? I almost said Rocky. Because they had some crazy shit. If you want to know, I'll tell you. But if you're going to see it, I mean, there is a lot of spoilers, actually. I was going to say, is there spoilers? But yeah, because a lot of it's just brutal killings. But there are some pretty deep spoilers, I'd say. Sylvester. Why can't I spell Sylvester? I'm spelling it Slyvester. Sylvester. Is that right? Oh, that is right, I think. You can spoil. I won't be able to see it for another 2 weeks. He in this movie, see, this is why I should have watched the other ones. I mean, I've seen them all, but I haven't seen them in a while. I'm not really clear on how. Maybe one of you could help me in the chat. Does anyone know how Rambo 4 ended? I remember the movie. It was really violent. He was older. He was like riding on, like there's the meme with him on the gun, but I haven't seen it since it came out in theaters. And I'm blanking on how it ended. He obviously lived, but I can't remember how Rambo 4 ended. Regardless, this one I feel like just goes off in another direction, but it starts off where he is like living with this Mexican woman and her daughter, or no, Mexican woman and her granddaughter. And the mother died, and the father is like a total abusive asshole father that beat the mother and possibly her and ran away. So that is the premise. Rambo 4 ends with him finally going home to the farm. Oh, all right. So that is kind of how it happens, because it starts off where he's living on the farm and the Mexican woman and her daughter live with him. He kind of took them in. So I guess it does kind of continue from there. I figured they wouldn't make it too like weird, but I guess they do that. I didn't remember him going back to the farm, but now that you mention it, that's right. They even played the music and he was walking up, didn't it? It ended where he was doing the walk up to the farm. You're right. And then it showed the mailbox. Totally remember now. You're right. Not that you were making that up, but I remember. So they don't really explain why or how, but this Mexican woman and her granddaughter live with him, and she finds her father. The whole thing is she finds her father, and she goes to Mexico against their wishes. The grandmother and Rambo, I keep calling her Rocky. Rambo and the grandmother are like, do not go. Bad shit's going to happen. Your father is an asshole. He beat your mother. He's not going to change, blah, 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 blah. So she goes there, tries to find him. Obviously, that doesn't work out. And she gets so upset. Her father's the worst guy ever. Her father literally is like, she's like, dad just tell me like, and this girl's like 17, 18, like just graduating high school. So she's young. And she's like, just tell me why you walked out on me and mom. And he literally is like, because I never cared about you. I still don't care about you. And I don't want to ever see you again. Leave my doorstep. Get the fuck out of here. Like, get lost. Brutally horrible to her, even to this day. So she leaves, goes with a friend who has moved to Mexico, but is acting very shady. And the girl basically sells her to like prostitute ring. And the daughter, like Rambo calls it his daughter, but it's like not even blood related. But basically, she gets taken by these like prostitute ring people and is now in Mexico, and Rambo's got to go get her. That's the premise of the movie. But the scenes that are dark as shit, I thought, I'm ready. I'm going to play Roland. Are you down for some like guessing? Because I'd like to play along to extend this, unless you're like, got to get out of here. If you got to get out of here, then I won't bother. But I want to see your opinion on where you'd think this go, because I could not believe where this went. I'm game. Beautiful. So here we go, bud. Since you are one of the few talking to me, or if the only one talking, you get priority over all this. So here's the deal. What do you think? What do you think? Where do you think the movie would go with his daughter or his daughter? It's not really blood related, but he's loves her to death. He is like the grandmother is like basically they're his family. The grandmother and this girl are his only family. He would die for them. Where do you think this would go? Now the daughter is with the prostitute ring in Mexico, and Rambo's going to get her. What would you think is the next step in this thing? Like, where do you think this is going? Because I thought I knew everything where it was going, and this is not a predictable movie. I'm just curious. I'm not going to do this for the whole movie. I'm just curious about certain key aspects. Because I honestly was shocked by a bunch of the stuff they did, which I love. It doesn't always have to be my way or the highway. I just want to see a good movie. And honestly, if you surprise me, the more surprises, the better. Rambo going to save the girl, and he gets his ass kicked and then unloads hell onto everybody. All right. He does get his ass kicked and he unloads hell on everybody. What do you think happens to the daughter? That's the key point of this question. What do you think happens to the daughter? Like, you don't have to say specific details, but like brief summarization. What do you think happens to the daughter? And while you're answering that question, I'm going to add some more tags because I feel like I didn't do enough. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Rambo going to save. Hey, if anyone else is in the chat, like I said, feel free to write a question, but I'm playing a little game here with Roland first. Doop-a-doop-a-doop. I love how every time I do a live stream now, they slap request review. I got to request a review every time I do a live stream because they think I'm copywriting shit. Insanity, people. Insanity. All right. I'm going to read it in a second, Roland. Give me 1 second. I just got to go to one more thing. And boop. Okay. I'm assuming she gets raped by the cartel and Rambo saves her and tells her he's her real dad and kills someone cartel brother. Blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm not blah, blah, blah. I read it. I'm just her kills someone cartel brother and the other brother going after. Very good. Just out of curiosity, Roland, is that really what you thought? Because that's kind of close, but not perfect. But that's pretty close. Honestly, I guess that part of it's good. Here's the part I did not expect, Roland. She is raped many a time. They show them literally holding her down and injecting heroin needles into her arms. Literally, I've known heroin addicts, and her arm is like riddled like to here with fucking needles on both arms, or maybe just one arm, actually, maybe one arm. But they literally force feed her heroin injections, rape her to no end, and then Rambo rescues her, saves her, and on the way home, right before he gets to the farm, she dies. She actually dies. I did not ever think they'd kill her. That was like the biggest surprise to me. They actually killed the daughter. She and like I'm like, oh, she's like overdosing or whatever. But he's there. He's at the farm. Like you see the farm. Like you see he's like gutting there. And I'm like, oh, they're gonna save her. No, she fucking dies. They bury her. They have a funeral and everything. And then he goes into the most brutal Home Alone, Kevin McAllister sabotage, like literally makes booby traps everywhere. And the last 20 minutes of this movie is the craziest shit. I don't honestly, I had to think on the way home, and I can't remember an action movie with so many bang after bang brutal kills after another. Like he must kill 30 or 40 people one by one. It's not like an explosion kills 30 people. He like one by one meticulously slaughters every single person in this drug cartel from beginning to end in brutal, gory fashion. Like like people's torsos ripping off, ripping like there's one scene. Well, let me read your thing first. I thought Rambo would die and the girl would be the only one to get out the movie alive. You know, Rambo lives and the girl dies like halfway through the movie. The little girl dies. He then goes to back to the farm and he tells the grandma, I'm sorry, your girl. She's like, I couldn't do anything. They beat the shit out of him, by the way. The reason it takes him so long to find the daughter when she's getting injected and stuff, because you're probably thinking like, how did he let this go so far? The reason he let it go so far is they beat him so bad that he literally went into like a semi coma and had a severe, the doctor said a severe concussion. They sliced his face up, beat him to a pulp. He literally he looked worse than Rocky in the Apollo Creed fight. So many swollen bruises on his head. His eyes were like sealed shut because they beat him so bad in the face. And then they sliced up his cheek because the one guy grabbed his knife and was like, I'm going to put my mark on you, slices him up. Rocky is like out of commission. Rambo is out of commission for a while. And while he's recovering, luckily enough, a reporter was watching the whole thing because she was like doing a news story on the or the prostitution cartel, and basically pulled him into a house and rescued him and saved him and that's why Rambo was okay. But while he was recovering, they heroined up his daughter and raped the shit out of her, and that's why it's like it went too far and she's friggin' dead. They have a funeral, and then they have the funeral with the grandma, and then he packs the grandma's car up, and he's like, "You need to get the fuck out of here because shit's about to go down." And that's pretty much what happens. Shit goes down. But oh my god, like one of the first kills. Oh, hold up a sec. I'm sorry. One of the first kills, or is it a? Technically, he doesn't even kill the guy. So I don't even, I mean, the guy probably died later, but he didn't necessarily kill him. What is going on with freaking YouTube? It's like all messed up. Anyway, in the beginning, you still with me, Roland? I don't want to be talking to myself. You still following me? You enjoying my yelling and ranting, or have you had about enough already? Because I could tell you some specifics now. I just want to figure out why my internet is so screwy right now. I'm with you. All right. Sounds good, my friend. So the first kill, He literally see. I by this I'm hoping I prepare you because then you could notice more details because I didn't know what was going on for a second, and then I'm like, is this really happening? And then by the time I realized it was, I kind of didn't fully understand what was going on. But basically, in the first kill, he like has his knife and he's trying to find where his daughter is. This is before they beat the living shit out of him, trying to find where his daughter is, and he hits the guy like this in his chest with the blade end of his knife. He's like boop, and the guy's basically doesn't say this, but basically is looking at him like, "What are you, stupid? You didn't even stab me." And Rambo is like, I didn't want to stab you, like to kill you. I wanted to stab you to make a hole, and sticks his fingers into the hole, rips his chest open, grabs his ribs and cracks his ribs, and is pulling his rib bones through the hole of his chest with his bare hands. And they show all of it. They show him rip the chest open. They show him rip the bones in half and like one or two rib bones, and he's pulling them out. And he's telling the guy, he's like, I know how to I know how to make you live as long as I want. I'm like just toying with you right now. So if you don't tell me, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep snapping ribs and pulling. Like he knows how far to go before like you go into shock and pass out or die, and is literally ripping rib bones out of this man's chest. That is the first kill. And like I said, he doesn't even kill this dude. He kind of just tosses him to the side and goes on with his day. So maybe that dude lived, but he is not a happy camper. We'll put it that way. I seen an old movie that sounds kind of familiar. Thriller, A Cruel Picture, where they call her One Eye. A girl gets abducted by a gang and raped, and they cut her blank out. She escapes and gets her eye out. Call her One Eye. When is that from? I don't think I heard of that. I do remember another movie kind of like that. Wasn't there another movie where they cut some girl's eye out? I'm thinking of like Last House on the Left. They were like, because The Last House on the Left is like a rape movie where like brutal murders happen and stuff. I don't think I ever heard of Call Her One Eye. Girl gets abducted by a gang. I don't think that name doesn't ring a bell at all. But I mean, I am a huge fan of horror, so I am surprised I don't know that, or at least haven't heard of it. Call Me One Eye. Sounds interesting though. But anyway, but that was the first death. Hello, whoever is jumping in the room. But the first, that was, well, like I said, it wasn't even a death. But I'm just trying to like run through. Then he busts through the cartel, beats the living shit out of everyone because now Rambo recovers. Honestly, it recovers very quick, but for the sake of the movie, I'm happy they did so. I think he said they literally have a doctor come. He is so beaten. His head looks like a grapefruit. He is purple everywhere, bruises so bad, his eyes are sealed shut. And they basically are like, yeah, you have a severe concussion. You're in a coma. And he does all these stitches and surgery. I think he wakes up like 6 days later and he's like, I got to get these guys, and literally goes to the attack. So he gets like 6 days of recovery. They didn't break any bones and they didn't stab him or anything. They just beat him with like bats and kicked and punched him. And then the one guy cut his cheek up, but they didn't like stab him in vital organs. They didn't shoot him or anything like that. So I guess as tough as he is, and I mean, Sylvester Stallone is jacked for the role. So I'm guessing based on all that he could sustain a lot of damage, I guess. But like I said, I'm okay to extend disbelief for the sake of the movie speeding up. So he 6 days later finds out where she is, goes and beats the crap out of like, I don't know, 7 dudes. One dude, like some of these dudes, all right. There's like a thin line here, Roland. I'm going to ask you another question now. This isn't a guessing game, just an opinion. When he goes into the prostitution house, he kills all the guys banging the prostitutes. Now, I understand they're doing illegal crimes, but he killed the clients. So like if you were banging a prostitute, you were dead. I mean, granted, they're doing illegal stuff, but I feel like that was a very steep penalty for. And the girls are, I mean, the girls are paid prostitutes. Granted, they're like in a ring of slavery, so to speak, but the guys might not know that, I guess. I mean, it's in my mind, it was like those are just guys looking for a hooker. And even though it's illegal, they're really not doing anything wrong. And Rambo slaughtered all of them. Do you think that's okay? Because I thought like that was going a little bit too far for Rambo to slaughter all the clients of the prostitution house. But I mean, they're not the greatest of society, but they're also not I mean, it's like going to like an illegal poker room. Like I play in underground poker houses, and I probably shouldn't say that on live stream, but everyone does from time to time. All I know is that is illegal. If someone walked in and beat me to death with a fucking knife or a hammer, I'd be a little upset because normally I'm a nice guy, and that's not really wrong. It's just instead of going to AC, I play cards at my friend's house or something like that. But this is like an illegal act that he murdered all these people. I thought that was a little bit of a, I don't know. I feel like some people might be torn. I don't hate him for it, but at the same token, when I was watching, I was like, holy shit, he's murdering everybody. Like he didn't kill the girls. The girls were all right. If you were a hooker, you didn't get hurt. But if you were banging that hooker, you were murdered. 1973 Swedish film. It's one of Quentin Tarantino's favorite films. He used. Oh, that's right. It was in Kill Bill where the girl lost her eye. That's it. I knew somebody. I was like, there's an action movie where a girl lost her eye. Thank you very much. But I'm gonna have to check that out then, because if I love Quentin Tarantino, I love horror, and I love revenge and oldies and nostalgia. This sounds like everything up my alley. So definitely going to check that out. Thank you for the recommendation, Roland. But yeah, were the prostitutes teenage girls and Rambo was killing pedophiles, or were the girls? See, they were young girls, but like of age. They were legal age. They weren't like 12-year-old girls. They were like 18 years old. Maybe some of them 17 or possibly 16. But we are told that this girl graduated high school and is going to college. So she's at least of legal age. And the other girls look older than her. Like the other prostitutes look older than her. See, I see where you're going. I was thinking the same thing. If they were like young, like tiny, like young girls, then I'd be like, that's fucked up. But these were like legal girl, like barely legal, but still legal. But like, I could see where you're saying if he was more brutal, if they were pedophiles. But like, I don't think they were like that young. They didn't, like, most of them didn't look that young, is what I'm getting at. But Rambo just went around, literally, I think he had a hammer and a wrench, literally no knives. He had a hammer and a wrench. One guy, he whacked him in the balls with this spiked end of the hammer, lifted him up and pulled his nuts off. And I'm pretty sure, watch this when you see it, Roland, but I'm pretty sure his nuts went flying across the room because he literally hooks him, rips up, and then something splatters against the wall. And it's not just blood. It is like something. I think he threw his nuts against the wall. And this wasn't one of the cartel guys. This was one of the guys banging the girls. So I don't know. I like, it's like a very thin line is what I'm saying. I don't hate him for it, but I thought like that was pushing it a little too far. Cause like you want to love Rambo. You want him to be, you want to be like, I love that he's doing this. And right at that scene, I was like, holy crap. What if this was like some guy that was just egged on by his friends, like, hey, we're going to get you drunk and get you a hooker. And then he got his nuts ripped off. That's what like some of these guys might be wasted drunk. Their friends got them hookers. They don't even know how old the girl is or who the girl is or something. And this dude just got his nuts ripped off. Rambo 4. Rambo 4 got a director's cut. So I'm guessing this might get a director's cut too for more blood and guts. It was very bloody and like very bloody and gory. Roland, you want to hear the end? Because I don't want to ruin it if you do, but I know you said you don't care. But before I tell you, I just want to get your confirmation because that was probably the craziest. But you're probably going to say yes. I just feel like I should ask one last time before I tell you how it ends. It's cool. So the guy you're talking about from Snowfall, Rambo basically has tunnels under the farm. He is built not for this reason, just in general, because he's a paranoid, like PTSD guy. He built tunnels all under the farm with like pathways in case like he needs to like escape, like because he's all crazy now. And he's got like forgeries, underground forgeries where he makes swords and weaponry and stuff like that. And he just like hangs out underground when the girl and her grandmother live there. But now the grandmother's gone, the girl's dead, and he's like basically booby traps everything. He realizes like, all right, the cartel, he goes to the guy from Snowfall's house. Yeah, it takes place on his ranch, the end. But before that happens, he basically, the girl dies, he goes back to Mexico and he murders like a bunch of more people at the house of the brothers, but the main brother's not there, the one from Snowfall. And he decapitates the one brother. You don't see it though, it's off camera, which I kind of didn't like that because he was the biggest asshole. I hated the brother that got decapitated so bad. And Rambo killed him off screen. It shows him murder all the guys. He gets into his bedroom and you hear the shower run, and then it doesn't show you him kill him. They wake up the next morning. The older brother comes home, and the brother is sitting up in bed with no head, and the Rambo stabbed him with the giant knife, and the picture of the daughter's there, so he knows like I'm the fucking guy that just murdered your brother. So in the midst of that, he had enough time to booby trap the whole ranch. This dude they must come up with like 7 or 8 SUVs full of people with machine guns. And he basically booby traps everything. So one after another, there is literally at least 20 different deaths, crazy deaths. Like he puts like booby traps where like spike things come down in the cave. He puts like I forget what they're called, not landmines, but I guess I'll call them landmines. But he puts mines on the ground all over the ranch. So wherever they step, they'll explode. Torsos ripped in half, blood splattering everywhere. There's points where he like literally guts people and like disembowels them. Like, what the hell is the thing's called? I can't think of the name. I'm blanking on the thing. It's like an exploding thing. It's not a landmine. It's not C4. It's like they use it in war. I can't think of the name, but he puts them everywhere in the tunnels. And then he basically lures all the guys into the tunnels. And there is like probably miles of tunnels underground. And he basically puts all these bombs everywhere with booby traps. He puts holes through some of the walls. Claymore. Thank you so much. That's what I was thinking of. A Claymore. Claymore is like, he has them everywhere. And he literally knows the tunnels like the back of his hand, and they're like probably miles long. So he literally just booby traps them all, and he's just running in circles around these guys. And there's like 30 of them, and he's picking them off one by one. And it's not like the guy gets hit by spikes and he's like, all right, that guy's taken care of. Every time someone's hit with a booby trap, he literally is like in the shadows and comes out and has a double-barreled sawed-off shotgun and blows their heads off. And they show their heads separate from their bodies. Like literally, it must happen 5 or 6 times where every time someone gets hit with something that's not like a fatal wound, like even though it's probably going to kill them, he'll run up and blow their head off. And I've saw at least 5 or 6 skulls explode on camera, and he just no mercy. Like they fall on the ground and they're like he has like claymores. One guy whose leg blows off, the guy's like jumping around. He walks out of the shadow and just shoots him all over his body. Just like, he's like, I'm not fucking around. You're all getting brutally murdered. So it was crazy good fun if you're into like 80s type violent action scenes. And I thought the ending scene of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood would be the bloodiest scene this year, Rambo 5. I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This is literally 10 times crazier and violent and bloodier than this. Like, I struggle to think of anything with regards to like trauma type films and stuff like that, but like a mainstream theatrical release that has I'm talking 20 solid minutes of nonstop violent, gory, bloody death. Like, I literally looked at my watch and I'm like, this is going on maybe longer than 20 minutes of just nonstop. And every scene is like more violent than the next. One of the most violent ones is he puts like fake holes there's like two tunnels that are side by side. So there's a tunnel here, there's a tunnel here, but there's a dirt wall that separates it. So he kicks the power off and he has holes that go from this tunnel to this tunnel. And as they're walking through, they can't see. And he's stabbing them through the heads with spears. And they can't see where it's coming from because he's behind a giant dirt wall that just has like a hole the size of a spear. So he's got all these spears lined up. And as they're walking through, he's just like shing, shing, and he's stabbing him in the head. Then they're like, oh shit, duck. So they duck and he starts slicing their legs off because underneath is a hole like about this big, about this shallow, where he can slice them with machetes. So like if you duck, you're getting your legs sliced off, and if you stand up, you're getting speared through the head, and the wall is so thick they can't even penetrate it with their bullets. So there's like nothing they could do except die or run away. But like if they run away, they're gonna get hit with like booby traps that are falling from the sky. Yeah, he goes full Jason Voorhees to the point where I pretty much got there. He puts like there's certain sections of the tunnel that are just like fake dirt. They fall through and there's just like steel spikes that slaughter them when they fall through. Then he comes out of the shadows and machine guns them while they're like agonizing pain in the spikes, machine guns the shit out of them there. So crazy shit, but definitely Jason Voorhees. And this got me more Jason Voorhees than anything. The scene ends where he murders the movie ends, murders everybody. And he literally radios the guy in the tunnel and he's like, everyone's dead. I made sure of it. The only guy left is the boss that you're talking about from Snowfall. And he literally is like, I'm going to hit the dynamite. He literally, they showed him putting up the claymores and stuff, but they didn't show to the extent. He literally is like, hits a switch and he's like, there's going to be a path of lights for you to follow. That's your only way to live. So just take my word for it or you're dead anyway. So the guy starts running and he hits the switch and literally, I'm not kidding you, the way they showed it, it looked like 3 acres of the ranch explodes. Like the entire land, the entire farm, ranch, everything just starts sinking into the ground. It's like boom, 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 like 1,000 explosions and acres of land are decimated. And the villain guy is just running, jumps out at the last second. Everything's like decimated except for the house and the barn, and everything around is just a giant sinkhole. Like everything's gone. So Rambo is in the barn, but it's like the barn. It looks like the barn from Friday the 13th, like one of those giant barns that are like 2 stories with the loft, the giant doors where Jason has fought many a time in the beginning movies. Preferably part 4 or 5. I can't remember. I think it's Jason Lives, where he gets hung in the barn and then he pulls himself off and then they like throw him in the chipper thing. I think it's part 4, maybe part 5, but reminded me of that exact barn. They might have even filmed at the same location because it was identical. But the guy runs out and now Rambo is up on the loft and he's firing arrows at this guy and he's a perfect aim. He has no problem. Hits the guy, pins him to the wall, and he hits it. I think he hits him here and here. That's it. Maybe in the hand, but I think it's just here and here. Pins him to the wall with these giant friggin' military-sized arrows, and then walks up to him. And earlier in the movie, he said, one of these days, something to the effect of, I'm probably wrong with the exact wording, but something to the effect of, one of these days, I'm going to show you what it feels like to have your heart ripped out because that guy killed his daughter. He then sticks the knife here, goes all the way down, and they show him. It's not like they show like sawing, like he's sawing down this guy's chest, gets to about here, cuts the knife. And I'm talking like, Rambo size giant knife, cuts it here, turns the knife, and then goes shink, rips his chest open, pulls his heart out, and holds it in his face until the guy dies and just throws it on the ground and walks away. So he legitimately rips the man's heart out, sawed open his entire body, and literally sawed open, not like a slick, like quick cut. Like they focus a good solid minute on sawing this man's chest open, rips his heart out, throws it on the ground. Clearly the guy is dead. And then he literally, in the process, was shot. A couple of the guys shot him. And the guy from Snowfall, the villain, the main villain, when he was running, I think got a couple shots into his shoulder. So he shot like twice, 2 or 3 times here, like boom, 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 like shot across his shoulder. And then he got shot right in his like side of his, like where his kidneys are. So he probably got some organs fucked up because it wasn't like one shot. It was like a machine gun, like, and he went, and you could see blood like splatter. So he shot multiple times in the side of his stomach where his organs are, kidneys, liver, what have you, pancreas, and then literally riddled with bullets up here so badly that he's trying to hold it. And every time he lets go, blood is spewing out, like literally, like noticeably, like, so he keeps holding it. And then he's like getting angry and like, rah, and then like blood is just spewing out of him. So it's like, these are like some deep bullet wounds, shot up here, shot up here. He basically just holds it together. And I'm like, I thought they were going to make him walk out to where the girl was buried and then like die. But no, he walks up the porch stairs, sits in his rocker, and is just holding his chest in his side. And he's just like rocking, and they just start playing like a song, and the credits roll. And he, like I said, he doesn't ever like bat an eye. He doesn't like slowly drift off and like his eyes close or whatever. He is alive and not well, but alive. And it's Rambo. So he's jacked out of his mind. Probably has some medical supplies inside. Not probably. The dude has everything. So he probably has it. I'm guessing there will be a Last Blood Part 2. Maybe Rambo goes to jail and the gang mess with him and he starts a riot and kills everybody. Maybe, because he didn't murder people, but they were on his property with malicious intent. So he had the right. But then I was like, they had a montage of every Rocky movie from beginning to end, starting with First Blood. So that was cool. So I stuck around. Everyone left except for 2 other people and myself. I guess people were like, they're not going to have an after credit scene. I honestly didn't think they would either. I probably would have left had they not had a beautiful Rambo montage of all the movies. So at the last montage, at the end of the whole montage, it's about half the credits is this montage. At the very end of the montage, it's showing him in the rocking chair. And I'm like, oh, that's how they're going to end it. And it shows him like I don't know if it showed him get up, but it shows him jump on a horse and he's holding himself together and he starts riding down the road. Like basically, I don't know. They could say he's riding off into the sunset to die, or they could say he's riding because he has no vehicles. All the vehicles are destroyed. He blew them all up. So he only had a horse. So it isn't like, oh, they're being poetic and he's riding off into the sunset. That's the only mode of transportation. So he had to. So they could basically do whatever they want. If the movie's a success and they want to make another, they can. Or they could say, no, he rode off into the sunset and he died. Oh, you did? I didn't stay after it chapter 2. So thank you for letting me know. I kind of figured they wouldn't. They said they were done, but I didn't stick around for it. So good to know. But yeah, no, they basically left it up in the air. I'm hoping, like I said, based on the turnout at my theater, that this movie does good, because I thought it was great. Violent as hell. I could see a lot of people thinking they went too far, and I get it, but I love that kind of shit. Like, I want people to push the bar. I want to see things like this. So if you're not into violent stuff, then don't see it. I completely understand. But I saw some people reviewing it, like critics, and they were like really reaming it for like saying it was racist, saying it like dealt with their female characters poorly. I get why they would say that, but that was the intention, to kind of draw attention to how bad shit is. Like, they weren't mocking Mexicans. They were saying shit like this probably happens. I don't know firsthand or personally, but I'm sure shit like this happens. And I'm sure there are prostitution rings and drug cartels that do horrible, evil shit. And Rambo took care of business. I don't understand. There was one Beyond the Trail or whatever. I watch her all the time, but I very often disagree with her. She said that she thought it portrayed Mexicans in a very poor light and that they portrayed women horribly. But I'm like, was the point? And then Rambo fought for them, and the grandma was a great character. And the like, I don't know. I just think she goes a little too much into the racism and feminism thing with movies. I get this. This was like a guy movie. This was like a machismo. I get it, but like you had to have known that going into Rambo is my point. I'm not saying like women should be treated like that or they were racist or whatever, but if you're watching a Rambo film, you know you're going to get 80s action gory cheese. Like why are you worried about like the way it's portrayed or something like it's like you have to ignore that kind of stuff in these movies. Like look at Steven Seagal movies and stuff like that. Like it's like it just doesn't make sense to me. I hate when reviewers critique movies like this in a serious like fashion. It just doesn't make any sense. Like save that for like your Academy Award winning films. Don't watch a Rambo film and then do a 30-minute review on why Sylvester Stallone should be like berated because he did too much gore in a Rambo movie. Are you friggin' kidding me? I got so annoyed when I saw her review. Maybe Rambo goes to jail, blah, 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 blah. He goes to jail and the prison guards mess with him like a part one. That would actually be cool. I actually would like that if they actually did like kind of like a shout out to part one and he fought back. That would actually be cool, especially if they're crooked. I mean, they have to be crooked, obviously. Like I said, I don't like to see Rambo screw with normal people. Like I was borderline with the clients of the prostitution house. IGN was poo-pooing on the new Rambo, so I did not read the review. I'm not kidding. I was like this close to just unsubscribing to be on the trailer because like I'm not kidding. Very often does that happen. And I'm not kidding you either. In her review at the end, she goes, well, like people, and she goes, this is a non-spoiler review. And then at the end of the review goes, well, I guess they could have another one and maybe they will if this movie does good. That means that Rambo survived. I don't know if she realized that or not, but in the end of her review, she literally says, well, they could do another one if they want. Maybe she could say, well, how do you know the daughter doesn't live? But that to me, like, I was like, oh my God, you basically just told people Rambo survived. I'm doing a spoiler thing. I told people this is spoilers. She said this is full non-spoiler. And I have seen many, many people freak out in the comments on other reviews saying that she spoils every time she does a non-spoiler review. She spoils it. Not everything, but like she always has a spoiler in her non-spoiler reviews. And I've seen many of them and can attest to that she does. And then she'll go, yeah, people are yelling at me in the comments. That was in the trailer at Comic-Con. I'm sorry, I forgot you guys didn't see that trailer. But she's done it many, many, many times. And it's not just like a Comic-Con trailer. She has leaked many spoilers. And I was like that close to like unsubscribing just based on the fact that I'm like sick of it. And when she does have something to say, it's usually something extremely negative that has nothing to do with the movie. Like, I just don't get it. Sorry, I'm going on a rant. I just dislike when critics go wild on movies that are clearly intentionally being what they are. Grace Randolph blocked me on Twitter because I was disagreeing with her on Midsommar. Yeah, no, I like I said, I'll still on occasion watch her, but it's almost because I want to see the other end, if you get what I'm saying, Roland. I want to see, like, I know her review is going to not be anything like my review. I know she's going to piss me off and stuff, but it's almost like I watch her just because I don't want to watch people that say what I say. I mean, I do want to watch that too, because I want to see if I miss things, stuff like that. But I want to see someone on the other end, how they view this. And it's like laughable. Like, to me, it makes no sense. Like, how could you take yourself seriously as a critic and a reviewer and literally do a 30-minute review on how Rambo is racist and feministic? It's Rambo. Did you not see a Rambo movie? He murders people. He like goes batshit crazy and is uncontrollable, and he's not responsible for his actions. You're worried about the racism and feminism, which I don't even think was bad. I thought the grandma was great character. The daughter was phenomenal. Granted, she died and like it was horrible, but the daughter was phenomenal. The grandma was phenomenal. They didn't have any other characters. It was Rambo, a drug cartel, a daughter, a grandma, and a friend. That was it. So half the characters were female, And the grandma was one of the best characters, and the daughter was phenomenal till she died. I just can't understand. And it took place in Mexico, and there was a prostitution ring, and she said that was racist. The way they portrayed Mexicans was racist because there was a prostitution ring in Mexico. So you're telling me that's racist, that there's not a prostitution ring in Mexico at all? Or are you just mad because of the politics of it all with Mexico and the wall and all this with Trump now? So you got to like pretend like, oh, I'm for Mexicans and this was racist. Like, it has nothing to do with that. She's basically just trying to say what she thinks people want to hear. Like, I think this was bad because of the way they portrayed Mexicans. It didn't do anything. It showed like an aspect of the evil world. And it's a Rambo movie. It's like an 80s action cheese fest. I can go on for hours about that. Grace is a drama queen. She was picking a fight with John Campea a few years back over nothing. I don't get it at all. All I know is, like, I watch her because of, like I said, I want to see the other end. I want to see how crazy people get with their notions of like where these movies are going when they're totally intentionally doing what they're doing for a certain audience. If you don't want to see it, then don't see it, but don't pretend there's more to it than there is. She was berating Sylvester Stallone, saying how could he, I don't want to put words in her mouth because I'm not probably quoting it exact, but she was saying like, how could he like make a movie like this? Like, I lose respect, so to speak, for Sylvester Stallone because of the gore he put and like the violence and like the way he portrayed women, literally like ragging on Sylvester Stallone. The dude is in his 70s. He's made a plethora of movies, and this is friggin' Rambo. It's not like Sylvester Stallone said, this is a true story and it is like my magna opus. Like, I'm gonna like make this movie and it's like a fucking masterpiece. It's friggin' Rambo 5. It's part 5 of a Rambo. Give me a friggin' break. Rambo is going to be exactly. I liked all the Rambos except part 3. So I liked 1, 2, 4, and I have not seen 5. I don't remember 3 all so well, but I loved 1 and 2. I know I've seen 3, but I don't remember it all so well. And obviously 4 was a good one. I liked 4 too. But Roland, it is 2 a.m. where I am. I really appreciate you in the chat. It was basically me and you, bud, but I appreciate it. I just wanted to rant and talk about it with somebody. So I'm going to post this up. People will probably watch it tomorrow. Usually when I do one of these lives and people miss them, it gets a couple hundred views the next day. So I figured I'd give my review and scream and rant, but I'm just getting in from the bar. I feel you. Instead of the bar, I drank at the movie theater. So I'm in your boat too. I'm slightly buzzed myself, hence the aggressive rant. But since no one else is talking, but I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to do a live stream tomorrow. I'll probably talk about it again, other things as well. So Roland, if you want, I don't know where you are at. If you're coming home from the bar, then you're probably living the same time zone as me because it's 2 where I am. And that's when the bars close around here. So you're probably in the same time zone. But US Eastern time around 9 o'clock, I'm going to do a live stream tomorrow. So if you're around 9 o'clock at night Eastern time, jump on, bud. But I recommend you go to sleep, drink some water. That's why I was chugging waters, because I tend to forget and then I get hangovers in the morning. So drink some water and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow, bud. I hope you enjoyed the chat. Have a good night. Peace.